Hey, welcome. This is Annique coming to you today. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story today. I'm going to share with you a little bit about how I got started on my whole personal growth and development journey. And it really started with the law of attraction. And if you've heard of this before, if you're intrigued about it, I'm going to tell you my experience with it. 15 years ago, it all started at home on maternity leave with two little boys. And it was the middle of Canadian winter. And I was watching Oprah, which is what I did with two little boys at home on maternity leave. And that day she had on the entire cast from the film. It's a documentary, The Secret. It's also a book by Rhonda Byrne. If you haven't heard of it, or you're like, what is the law of attraction? Or you're like, oh no, not one of these, another, like, think about it, you're going to get it. But it is about that, because I'm going to tell you how it actually impacted me. So I watched this Oprah show, and I got really excited, and I was on the phone with one of my mom girlfriends, and I was like, this is actually really cool. And so the premise of The Secret, which if you haven't watched it, currently it's on Netflix. Go check it out. It was done back in like 2007, 2008. So right now it'll seem a little aged when you watch it, but the idea behind it is still there. And so basically, like attracts like. What you think about, you bring about. Positive reaps positive. But now there is science behind this. There are a lot of people who would feel like it's quite woo-woo. I loved it. I was already a pretty positive person. That's just how I grew up and how I was raised and my personality. But the thought of like putting out positive thoughts and kind of canceling out negative thoughts and how that could maybe impact things for me was really cool. Now, I think the biggest thing was, and for most people, is knowing what it is that you want, because we know what we don't want, and that's where the law of attraction can go wrong, is we start thinking about all the things we don't want. But what you're doing by thinking about them is you're actually attracting them. So you have to flip it. So I watch Oprah. I'm inspired. I watch Jack Canfield. I love Jack Canfield. I see all these amazing thought leaders, but there's neuroscientists and physicists, and there's all these, like, there's science behind it, which I like that. And so I ordered the book, I read the book, and I do the things, which is how I kind of operate in life. I'm a bit, I'm not fully type A, but I'm a little bit type A, and I'm definitely a rule follower. And so I read the book, and the first thing the book told me to do was to write out everything I'm grateful for. So that's the other thing. You can't bring or attract more into your life if you're not being grateful for what you already have. And so I wrote a big list. I still have the little notebook. I wrote a list of everything I'm grateful for: health, healthy family, healthy kids, a loving husband, a warm house to live in, all the things, a career, all these things. I wrote this exhaustive list of what I was grateful for. And then, which is kind of fun, the law of attraction tells you, or The Secret tells you, pretend that the universe is a giant catalog. When I was a kid, we still got like the Sears catalog that we could pick our Christmas wish list out of. So pretend the whole world is a catalog and you could order anything, right? It's like having that magic wand and like, poof, what would you want to come into your life? And this is where really it got me to start dreaming again. I was at a point in my life where I was kind of in my just early 30s. Like I said, I had a career, I had a job, I had the house, great marriage, two beautiful, healthy kids. I had all these things these goals that I had as a young, teen, early in my 20s, that I wanted to accomplish. And then it was like, I kind of stopped dreaming. And so this exercise got me dreaming again. So grateful list was the first thing. Second thing was write out your wish list to the universe. And so I did. I wrote out my wish list. And on that original list, back in March of 2007, I wrote on it, my first thing on my wish list was 2 more healthy babies. And then I wrote like a new vehicle. I wrote getting a rental property. I wrote a lakefront cabin. I wrote more time with my husband. I wrote all closer relationship with my brother. I wrote all these things that I wanted to come, a way to stay home with my kids, because now I had 2 of them. And I kid you not, that was in March. By May, so a couple months later, I was pregnant with 2 babies. So the first thing on my list was 2 more healthy babies. You need to be very specific about what you're wishing for. I needed to include in there, they do not need to come at the same time, which of course coming at the same time was perfect. We have a lovely set of 14-year-old twins at this point, but like what you wish for, it really can appear. I kid you not, that list I believe had 13 to 14. I was going to bring it down here with me and I just forgot to before I did this. 13 or 14 things on the list. Within a year, I had almost 10 of those things checked off. And within 4 or 5 years, the entire list had been completed. And I think this can go hand in hand is it goal setting? But when you start to dream and you write those dreams down and you don't have to necessarily figure out how they're going to come together and how they're going to happen. It's not like you need to come up with this plan of how all these, don't limit yourself. So that's what I suggested you. Watch The Secret, go to YouTube, go to Netflix, watch The Secret, read the book, and then write out those 2 lists. Write out a grateful list, because if you're not grateful for what you already have in your world, you can attract more good into it. And then write that wish list. And once now it's completed, it's to rewrite it. And you need to look at it as like you're putting an order in at a restaurant. When the waitress comes and she takes your order, sometimes it's fast and you're like, whoa, that food came out fast. That was like 10 minutes. Sometimes you're like, it has been an hour. Like, where's the dang food? It's the same thing with the law of attraction. Does it work? I believe it does. And I think that's a big part about it, because you're attracting what you believe in. So if you believe it doesn't work, it's not going to work for you. But it can start with something as easily as parking spots. And the movie will talk to you about this, where you're like, I always get really rock star parking spots. I actually always get really rock star parking spots. Money is constantly flowing to me every day. And all of a sudden you'll start noticing, oh my gosh, I actually did get I got a refund on this and I got it and it might not be like millions of dollars, but you'll start noticing things. Start paying attention. Start thinking about what it is that you want, because I think so many of us feel like we're given this hand of cards, and people can get into victim mode and feel like, well, this is all I have, so I guess this is what I'm going to do. It's like, no, we have choice in our life, and we can change the direction and the trajectory at any point. We can't control all the circumstances that happen, but we sure as heck can control how we respond to them and what we expect, and kind of then surrendering to it. So put in your order to the universe and see what happens. It's really fun to play around with. And I mean, I can go way deeper into this. This is just kind of carving off the top little layer of the law of attraction. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of the premise of it. And so if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't thought about it, start thinking about how this can work and what you're expecting and what is showing up in your world. I hope this is helpful. I hope it gives you something to think about. Go watch The Secret. I will put it in the show notes of The Secret, and the name of the author of the book and all of the things. If you like what you're hearing, press like, subscribe, share. I'm going to be here every Monday. I hope you guys continue to join me in my little corner of YouTube. Thanks for being here. Have a great week.